For me, that's what I feel like success is. This is way better than being in that one moment with those people that are temporary. Like, it just hits you deeper. You go to the fancy dinner, you're in the nice house, whatever. You're just like, I'm here and I don't feel it yet. Like,
so
how?
You had a pretty good example growing up.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just put it this way, plain and simple. If there was ever tough times, I never noticed it. And then he just finally decided, like, hey, look, I need more than this, you know? He just decided to go all out, start gardening, and from gardening to landscape. And, you know, luckily it worked out for him. He was like, you guys are little sissies crying about this and that. You guys should be able to see how I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Grandpa, I'm sorry. I'm never going to be like you, dude. If I want to be somewhere or be someone or have something in my life, the only person that's capable of doing that is myself. Everyone there that was working at that company was like 35 and up to like maybe 60s. And I'm like walking in as a 21-year-old. At first you're like, who's this young dude? Or what's like the best way to put it? Like, of course you gotta enjoy here and there because you don't know, tomorrow's never promised. But you also gotta look at like, okay, well if I get to tomorrow, I also wanna have something set. Definitely, that's like the best way to put it. Yeah. Sacrifice now for your future self. I like putting myself through the mistake, through whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know why I've always been like that. I'm just hard-headed.
I respect that a lot.
It's very true at the end of the day. Like, just treat others right. Treat others how you want to be treated and you will be so happy in life.
Hello and welcome back to the Humanizing Success podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. We haven't posted in about a month. My girlfriend from Israel came and visited, so I had to make sure she only saw the good things. So I took a little time off, but no one's paying me, so I can do that right now. Today we're here with Luis. Luis and I grew up together in Culver City, California, and we played baseball together.
Sure
and kind of just kept in touch through social media and that type of thing. So, and I saw that he's, having a little success in life, so I wanted to ask him a couple questions.
Of course, dude. Ask me whatever you need. I'm here to answer everything.
Amazing. So the first thing I like to talk about with everyone is when you picture success or someone who's successful, what do they look like?
Honestly, when I think of success, when I was younger, I used to think like, okay, success, what is success? When I used to see somebody in a nice car, nice house, if you're a guy, if you have a beautiful girlfriend or wife, I'm like, whoa, that guy's successful.
Yeah.
Someone's like, dressed to the T's, everything. But now as I've grown up and all that, success to me now is just having food on the table, a roof over your head, not worrying about, what's the next step, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that. Success is just being able to provide. That's what I've grown to see what success is.
Do you think that's coming more as like being a man from that standpoint?
Definitely, maybe because that's how I was raised and that's how I saw my dad provide for our family. No matter what it was, I was never even able to notice if we ever went through a tough time just because my dad was just always been able to make it seem like, hey, everything's good. You got a plate in front of your face, you got a roof over your head, and you got, sheets for your bed. That's all you need. And, obviously we were blessed enough to have hobbies and do activities and do things here and there. So for me, that's what I feel like success is. You don't have to have the nicest car, the biggest house, you don't have to even have a family if you don't want to. Success is just being able to provide, whether it's for yourself, for others, or for your own family, obviously.
Yeah. So things have gotten simpler as far as your outlook on success.
Yeah, definitely much more simpler, much more simplified.
Yeah. I throughout doing a couple of these interviews, that's kind of the consensus that I've come to. You growing up, you see, especially growing up with social media and stuff, you see the fast cars, the girls and everything, and you're like, all right, that's what I need to, shoot towards. And then you start to either make a little money or just grow up a little bit and you're like, wait, this isn't what, makes me happy, fulfilled, all this kind of stuff. So, I think I completely agree with you.
Yeah, no, yeah, because sometimes you're like, okay, this is what it is, and then maybe you get a taste of it, right? You go out, you meet a pretty girl, or you have a nice car, or you go to the fancy dinner, or you're in the nice house, whatever, you're just like, I'm here and I don't feel it yet.
Yeah.
So you're like, this is probably not success.
Back to the drawing board.
And then maybe you're probably in the most simple moment of your life, whether it's a walk in the park with someone you're really into, or just a moment where you're just like, wow, this is what success is right here. Like nothing else is in my head but the moment that I'm in and the happiness that's in your body and your emotions.
because you brought it up, I have to ask, is there, can you, there, I'm sure there's a couple, but maybe there's one moment where you were like, kind of shifted your perspective, or you thought, all right, wow, this is like a great moment as you've grown up?
Like, as in, like, where I felt like it was great,
like this is like, I don't know, this is what bring joy to life, instead of, let's say, like, I don't know, you went to a really nice meal, not
uh-huh.
something like that, like something
Oh,
more.
I get, yeah, definitely. Like, I guess when I first started like working, and obviously like you're making good money, you're able to do more things. You can go out, whether it's to a club or dinners.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is fun. But then like I thought that was fun in that moment, and then I got to witness like another moment. For example, like when my dad and my mom purchased their ranch, and it's just like simple. It's me, my brother, my sister, my parents, all of my grandparents, all
Yeah.
four of us, all four of them, and it's all of us just there. And I'm just like, this is way better than being in that one moment with those people that are temporary. Like, it just
Totally.
hits you deeper. And that's where I'm
Totally.
just like, I was happy in that moment where I was out and about with friends and whoever. But what matters is like this little 10 minutes of like with family, with people that are there through good and through bad, and from youth to being grown now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So growing up, what was your childhood like? Did you grow up? You were, before the interview, we were talking a little bit about your parents and their past. Kind of start us from where you think it's important for us to know at the beginning. Maybe you were talking about your dad having small beginnings, and
Yeah, no, definitely. My childhood growing up, let me just put it this way, plain and simple. If there was ever tough times, I never noticed it.
yeah,
Just because my dad's just always been just work, like work. Because if you work, you're gonna get what you need. And like obviously, I see the difference now, right? Like I'm older, I'm grown, I know what it is. But growing up, like we grew up in a nice home, like 2 3 bedrooms, three siblings I share with my brother. Small little house.
yeah,
But then now it's like I grew up and I see like wow, like we shared a room growing up my entire life. I didn't have my own room till I was like 15 years old, 16, which I mean, I sound privileged. Like, I'm not complaining about it.
yeah,
But, you just grew up and you're like, you were happy then, not noticing anything, like whether it was good or bad. I never got to notice it just because my dad was never like the type of guy to like complain or be like, oh, this is a tough time or we don't have enough. He was more like, hey, I'm just going to put a smile on my face, get
yeah.
up, work, and just what happens as time goes, and God, thank God everything has worked out so far, obviously.
And so, when did your dad start his business, and were you born already, or was that before your time?
Yeah, no, he started working when he was around 16, 17, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, within
In
this
the U.S.
in this well, he came, I don't know the details. I haven't
Where's he
even had this
from?
stuff. He's from Mexico.
Okay.
So he was born and raised a little bit in Mexico. I don't know,
Gotcha.
he came like, early teens.
Yeah.
The details I'm not too sure about. Only he knows all that. I haven't really had to talk like him about that with him.
Maybe you will now.
Yeah, I have to. But no, yeah, he came. He came to school here. Didn't know much English. Bounced around from school to school, city to city. He went to a handful of high schools. He wasn't a bad student at all. He just, when you're from somewhere completely different than, and LA, out of all cities, LA, you're just lost a little bit, I guess.
Mm.
And, he had a regular job. I think he worked at a grocery store, which was good for him. And then he would help his family members with whatever they were doing. And then he just finally decided, like, hey, look, like, I need more than this, And he just decided to go all out, start gardening, and from gardening to landscaping, which is the same thing, but a little bit bigger. And, luckily it worked out for him. So for him, it was just more like, it wasn't like, I don't really know how to put it, but for him, it was more like if I want to be somewhere or be someone or have something in my life, the only person that's capable of doing that is myself. Like, no one's going to give me it. So if
Yeah.
I don't put myself to go do it, no one's going to do it for me. So he took the risk of dropping out of high school right before graduation to
Mm.
work. And, thank God everything's worked out. But then again, also thanks to his perseverance and hard work, he was able to get to where he's at.
Yeah. It sounds like he was, willing to take the risk, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of that one step that a lot of people either take or don't take, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, different paths either way. But so did he have his own business from the start, or he worked for someone else and then?
No, he started his own
Okay,
thing. Yeah,
gotcha.
him and my grandpa, just
Gotcha.
simple little gardening,
I
just
remember
cutting
I was gonna
grass.
ask you. I saw
Yeah.
on your story a while ago that you were like, your grandpa was. Does he still work?
No, he retired when he
Okay.
like a while back. I think I was in middle school or maybe early high school
Gotcha.
when he retired.
Gotcha.
But he'll help out. He'll still come out
Yeah.
and help out. You know, he's
I think you posted a story with him working. He came to help out
oh
or
yeah, he came to
something.
help out. He'll
I was
come
like,
and
that's
try to
so
like
cool.
school us. He'll be
Yeah.
like, you guys aren't doing it right.
Yeah.
Or he'll be like, you guys are little sissies crying about this and that. You guys should be able to see how I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Grandpa, I'm sorry. I'm never gonna be like you, dude. I'm almost I'm a little crybaby compared to you, but yeah.
Awesome. And so, do you remember a time, or where was the business when you were growing up? Was like, did you grow up seeing your dad succeeding already, or where was he at in terms of business?
In terms of business, I mean, obviously, I was growing up. I didn't really know like the details. Like I
Sure,
don't know what he was
sure.
doing, like
From when you
financially, or
could
any of
kind of
that.
understand
Yeah,
it.
from what I would understand is like, I'd wake up to go to school. What school starts around 8 in the morning when you're a kid. He was already gone at
Yeah.
work, and then we'd get home from work, or sorry, from school or baseball practice or whatever it was, and we'd be swimming in the pool or whatever it was, playing in the backyard, and it'd be like 5, 6 o'clock, and he's barely getting home. Like he's getting home because you would hear that truck get home every day. And I would just think as a kid, like, wow, like my dad's been out all day long. And like he wouldn't come complain. He wouldn't be like, I'm tired. He'd be like, he'd either play with us, he'd jump in the pool, he'd be like, hey, help me wash the trucks. Or he'd go into the garage, which was his office at the time, and he'd do all his paperwork and everything. It was just him on his own doing everything. From what I remember, just like vivid little memories, that's what I recall. So like to see him like struggling, tired, nothing. Like if anything, I was like, how does this guy have so much energy?
Right.
Like
So
how?
you had a pretty good example growing up.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why when I'm like, if I'm like tired or something, I'm like, why am I tired? Like,
Yeah.
I remember seeing my dad get home and I'm like, annoying kid wanting to play catch or go swimming, and he'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. And then now that I'm in the position that he's in, where I'm getting home from work, I'm like, I'm tired, and he still wants to go deal with a little annoying 7-year-old.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So speaking of family, I wanted to ask you kind of what role family plays in your life. It seems like you guys are all pretty close, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, we're definitely close. Maybe not on a personal level. We're like, oh, we go back at the end of the day and we talk about everything that went on
Sure.
in our personal lives. But business wise, I mean, we're all in it. My mom is now the designer and does all like the office stuff for my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad is obviously the contractor. So like they're always like they're married. So imagine balancing a relationship with a work
It's a lot.
relationship. Could imagine that's a lot. And my sister just graduated college as a landscape architect. So she's going to start doing what my mom does, and I'm taking on my dad's role. And my brother has just started going to college. He's architecture, but for buildings. We're going to try to see how we can work that in there. But like we're all, tight-knit.
Everyone wants to be a part of.
Everybody
part of
wants to be a
that.
part of it.
Yeah.
So we talk on a daily basis. And the days that we don't work, whether it's Saturday, for sure, we don't work Sundays. So those days that we don't work, I mean, we're still checking in. We're still like, hey, what's up? What are you guys
Yeah.
up to? Even though I'm either with my girlfriend or my brother's with his friends or my sister's with her friends or my parents are out doing their thing. We're still like, hey, what are you guys up to? Like, it's not always just business or.
Sure.
But we are always checking in on each other. We're always like, on each other, making sure if I'm not getting it done, someone's on me. If someone's not getting it done, we're on them. Or just like, make sure you do this. We're just always very communicating very well.
Yeah. And I want to back up a little bit actually to after high school.
Mm-hmm.
What was your plan?
So after high school, I'll be honest, I honestly thought I was going to become a big league baseball player. I thought I could do it. I thought I could, go to college. I wasn't obviously the most standout player, but I knew definitely work ethic wise I can beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my plan. I was like, I'm going to beat everyone out, work harder than everybody. And, unfortunately I got injured where it wasn't like career ending, but it was like, it's if you want to do this, you have to really sacrifice your time, your finances. You're not going to be making money. You're not going to be able to work because you're going to be dedicating all your time to becoming a baseball player. And I went to college with the intent to play baseball. I was at first. Then I got hurt.
Where'd you go?
Cal Poly Pomona.
Okay.
So I went there, with trying to play baseball. Walked on. Was doing very well, and then I got hurt, and I was just like in school. And my major was my sister, what she did, landscape architecture. And I tried it out after I didn't play no more. I tried it out for like a month or two, and I was just like, I just didn't have the patience for it. I'll be honest, like aside from like the actual like landscaping classes that we had, like I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than a teacher, because
Sure.
obviously not, never. But like we would, have field trips or have classes, and the teachers like explaining things to me that I'm like, I can learn this with my dad. Like literally growing up as a kid, going with him gardening or landscaping, I've heard all this before. Not a knock on the teachers. Obviously, everyone needs to make their living, and
You just had real world experience.
I have hands-on experience.
Yeah.
And because even if I were to stay in school, I still, after those 4 years, would have to do everything again hands-on. So I was like, I'm gonna have to talk with my parents. If they agree, I'll try it out. If not, then I gotta stay in school. And my dad's like, well, if you really think you can do it, then just start working. Honestly, but that's a serious choice. If you leave school, you're leaving school.
Yeah.
Like there's no going back. Like, if you want to go back, go ahead. But I'm just telling you, like, this is very, very hard.
Right.
Like, you're about to enter the real world. And he warned me. And, it was hard at first. Being 18 years old, getting up sunrise, working till sundown, 5-6 days a week. Your friends are telling you to go out. You're just, like, tired, or you're, like, trying to leave work early, or you're up late the next day, you have work. You're just, like, things that you weren't thinking of when you make that decision really, really hit you.
Suddenly things popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, suddenly things popped out of nowhere. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So as far as your dad's business, what is your current position there? What do you do exactly?
My current position, so we have maintenance accounts, so which that means basically gardeners. So like we have gardening routes. We have one route that does like the bigger houses, like Beverly Hills and whatnot. And then we have another route, which is 2 guys, and then we have another route that's just 1 guy doing like the more simple houses, just mow, blow, and go. I'm in charge of the dude that's by himself. I'm in charge of like making sure all the clients are good, talking to them, go around once a month. Do you guys need this? Do you guys need that? Try to sell them things.
Sure.
But not just sell them, like making sure their properties are intact, that they're happy with the services.
Providing additional value.
Basically. And then with the projects that my dad does, with designs that my mom does, we execute them. My main thing is I'm at the projects, and I am, we need this, this, and this. I go through what we need. I go to where we get it from. I get everything, whether I need to pick it up or I need it delivered. Make sure I get the best prices.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's there on time. Everything is what we need. And if we're running low on certain things, I need to make sure that I get it in. That way we're not like, we're finishing up, but we're waiting on this.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Was that always your position, or did you work into that?
I worked into that because when I first started, I knew, because I was always behind my dad all the time.
Even you were saying in middle school, high school.
Yeah, like I would help him out.
Yeah.
But like learning how to do things like drive a manual transmission truck.
Yeah.
With a fully loaded trailer. Like you're talking about a 10-foot truck with a 12-foot trailer attached to it, full of trash or tools or material, or driving the narrow streets of Beverly Hills or up in Hollywood Hills, whatever it is.
That's sketch. Yeah.
It's very nerve-wracking, because you're just like, aside from yourself getting hurt, you're about to hurt a very expensive home and or car that's parked.
Right.
So that was when I first started, my dad's like, okay, you're going to learn how to do this, this, and this. Learn how to drive the truck right. Learn how to drive stick shift. Learn how to drive the trailer. Learn how to load a trailer. And then it went to learning how to use certain tools. So it's more like learning step by step at first.
Yeah.
To work myself to where I'm at now, because now it's like, maybe I don't do a lot of the physical things anymore, but if so-and-so's not here, you got to do this. Okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to know, if you're going to overlook something or tell someone to do something, our thing, or my dad's thing, is like, you got to know how to do it yourself. You can't tell someone to tie their shoes and you don't know how to tie your shoes.
Right.
So that's how he does his own. That's how we do things. Or he taught me how to do things.
I like that a lot. Show by example.
Basically, yeah.
Have you stopped kind of at any point and been able to look back and see your progression? Like, do you see how much you've kind of learned or grown, or?
Yeah, definitely. Especially like during when COVID started, at the very beginning, when, work didn't stop because there's still a lot of work.
Okay.
But obviously people were scared in the moment. So everyone like don't come to my house,
Right.
don't do nothing. So, there was like a point in time where we were at home for like a month or two, not doing anything. And I was just like, whoa, like, you know, you wake up every day and you're just like, what do I do? Like, and that's where I got the time to think and like, okay, dang, like I really learned how to do a lot of things. And
Yeah.
what was it? A year and a half, 2 years maybe, because it went from 18 to 20 years old. Yeah, 2 years. I was like, I know how to do a lot of things, like, because like we were getting work, but it was more like, not every single day. And I'm just like, me personally, it's like, okay, this is my life. It's either I have work here, or I need to go find something to do. And then when I was like in the moment of my life, or that time of my life where I was like, okay, I'm helping my dad, but at the same time, I kind of want to go look to see elsewhere what I can do.
Sure.
I was like, okay, people are like, do you know how to do this and this? And that's where I got to know, like, wow, I really know how to do a lot of things. And there was where I went to go work for a different company. I went to go help or go work for a different company, not help, for like 5 months in 2020, end of 2020, beginning 2021. It was like the last 3 months and the first 2 months of that year. I was just like, everyone there that was working at that company was like 35 and up to like maybe 60s. And I'm like walking in as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old. And they're like, at first they're like, who's this young dude thinking he's like knowing how to drive a forklift or knowing how to do this and that or knowing this piece and that piece. And like, they're just, that's where I got to see myself like, wow, I know a lot of things that maybe, I'm not trying to crap on anybody my age, but a lot of things that people my age don't know. So I should be proud of myself for that. And then obviously I learned a lot more things from those people and experiences and dealing with other people that I took in and I brought back to my dad's company.
But you held your own, you were in a room full of people twice your age. And
yeah, that's very, very, at first when you don't know nobody, people don't like that.
Yeah.
People don't like the young guy thinking he's like smarter than me, which it's not how I was approaching it, but that's what people right away think.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of more like, okay, you listen with your ears, not your mouth. Just listen. Of course, here and there, you're going to slip up and say something, but it's more like listen. And that's when people start to respect you. And then you just show by your actions, like, show them that you know how to do this without telling them you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's when people are like, okay, this guy is cool. He's cool.
And for your guys' business now, how do you get new business? What type of marketing do you guys do?
A lot of our other like new business is from referrals from, like, I kid you not, like we do this job down the street, you get 10 people walking by it in a day, the odds are that 2 of those people are going to hire you just because, they live down the street and they want their yard to look like that. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest ones, or family members of clients, or social media. I mean, I like to record a lot of our before and afters.
I've seen some of it. It looks
I love it.
incredible.
Like my dad at first was just like, put your phone away, no phones at work or this and that. I'm like, I know I could. Yeah, I use my phone at work. Yeah, I'll text my girlfriend, my friends, whatever. I'm on my phone. I'm not gonna lie, but at sometimes like I'm recording. I'm like, he's like, what are you recording? I'm like, you'll see. And then he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, see, like you see things happen in your head or with your eyes, right? Like just record it, and then you get to see it all happen on the phone in video or pictures, and then you get wowed. You're just like, wow, I did that.
I mean, especially with those kind of projects, the couple that I've seen, it's like they start from super bare till like all of a sudden you've got this like movie look.
And there's a lot of people that do not have like the imagination to even picture, even if it's their own yard, or you're like, you go give an estimate, or you're talking to family members or whoever it is. You're like, oh, we want to do this. I'm like, okay, but I recommend this and this. Really? Like, I don't. I'm like, I know, just trust me.
We've done this once before.
And then they're like, you do it, and they're like, oh my God, honestly, when you were explaining it, I couldn't imagine anything. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. So maybe being able to show them like, okay, this went from this to this, like kind of opens their mind a little bit.
Yeah. People definitely change that when it becomes them, like for them. That's when people are like, people will walk by and see a job and be like, oh, that's really, really nice. Like, da, da, da. But then when you go work for them, people switch up big time. They're like, I don't think it's going to be able to, like, they become more like tighter, I guess. That's the best way to put it. Yeah. And then when you're done, they're like, oh, yeah, I should have. Yeah, you were right. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, especially with like people's homes and personal items, I've found. I did solar for like a couple months. They like, even if a professional comes up to them and says, hey, I've seen this, I've done this, this is what's going to come of what you're saying right now, they're like, nah, but I want it like this.
Yeah.
Like, well, all right.
Yeah.
And then if you do what they say, then they're not happy about it at the end because they find out what you found out
That's very
20
true.
times ago. So what's been the hardest part about the job so far?
The hardest part at first, when I first got into it, was definitely waking up at 5, 6 in the morning every day, and then getting home 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and then you're just like, oh, I want to work out.
Yeah.
Or I want to go to the movies, or I want to go whatever, free time. And you're just like, I'm tired. And you're tired. And then obviously, like, when you're younger, because I'll compare myself to when I first started, the first 2 years compared to now, I will not go out on a weekday. Like, I don't care what it is. I'm not going out on a weekday because I know whether if I'm going out for dinner, drinks, whatever it is, if I don't go to sleep at the time I need to go to sleep at, I am miserable the next day.
100%.
And when you're younger, you don't feel it. You don't feel it at all. But at
or
first,
you just have short-term memory loss.
Yeah,
but.
no. When you're younger, the hardest part was not being able to go out. When obviously I wasn't, my friends were all in college, so
Yeah.
they come home during the summer, which is our busiest time. So they're all going out during the weekdays, you know, so and so's house or whatever it is, and you're just like, that's like the hardest part. But then that time passes, and you're just like, it's whatever, you know. Because now
100%.
I can go do that on a Saturday or whatever every now and then. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
for those of you that are trying to like go out with your friends and think it's important, yeah, every now and then, but it's more important to get your things done, your jobs done, and be responsible. Because at the end of the day, whoever sticks through it with you and respects that part of you, you can go out with them when you're established and you have the time. And whoever is willing to wait for you, that's a good friend.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I've started to learn and understand is kind of, you know, the sacrificing now for your future self type of thing.
Definitely.
And
that's like the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Sacrifice now for your future self. Of course, you got to enjoy here and there because you don't know, tomorrow's never promised. But you also got to look at like, okay, well, if I get to tomorrow, I also want to have something set, you know? It's not
100%.
just, let me all just use it and not be ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. But I think it's one of those things because there's a lot of things that you hear that may be great advice, but you don't do it at first because you're like, whatever. I feel like it's almost one of those things that you have to go through and mess up.
Oh, for sure. That's like literally my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so hard-headed. I am so stubborn. Like,
as figure out for yourself.
Yeah, I'm that type of person. Even now that I know that I'm stubborn, hard-headed, bad attitude, whatever it is, I will literally do things until I find out for myself. I like putting myself through the mistake, through whatever it is.
Yeah.
To know that I learned from it because, like, I can be warned about something, but I like knowing what it feels like to get through it. If that makes any sense.
I know, I get it.
I don't know. I've been through that. I've been like that since I was a kid. Like, I don't know why, but even my mom tells me when I was a kid, like, she's like, dude, you were like the kid that would literally get the worst luck. Like, we go to McDonald's, you're the only one that didn't have a toy in your Happy Meal. Like, just like things like that. They're like, and like, she's like, that's what you get because like you were hogging all the cookies or because whatever it was. Like, and I'm just like, well, now I know. So since I did that, I'm not gonna do that again. And then even like with like other like examples with baseball, it's like I decided to go to a different school 1 year of high school of my high school years, and like everyone's telling me don't do it. It's gonna be hard, and I'm hard headed. Like I'm like I know it's gonna be hard, but I want to do it because I want to know what it feels like to go through a tough time, through pain, not even pain, but just through a tough time, and then see if I could come out on top. I don't know why I've always been like that.
I completely get it. I mean, what's funny is I've talked about it a couple of times, but I did the military in Israel, and a lot of things you're talking about were a lot of the reasons that I went. Mm-hmm. And I talked about it with my friends there, and we all felt similar. We were like, we just want to suffer. Like we want to feel like we've earned it.
Feel like, like you're pushing yourself through something that someone tells you can't, or it's too hard, or like why, or even if you're warned about it, I don't know why I've always been like that. It's like I was telling one of my friends the other day because I did one of my friends does like the full marathons. I'm just all right, that's too much. Like I'm not gonna get anything out of it, but I'll do a half marathon, and I did it, and I was just like, I felt really good. And then one of my other friends is like, dude, like you're crazy. Like, I would never do that. He's like, I was like, yeah, but even though I was warned, like, you know, you're not prepared, you're not like a runner like that. It's like, no, I'm not. Like the day, 2 days before, I was up out with my girlfriend at dinner, you know, having drinks, and I wasn't listening. I didn't properly train right, but I still got a really good time, and I still did it. And it's like, I've just always been hard headed like that. I don't know why.
It's also one of those things, though. It made me think about it when you're talking about how your friend ran a full marathon and you ran half. He's like, maybe I won't do the full, but I'll do the half. But then your other friend was like, from your perspective on he looked at your half and was like, that's like out of my league. So a lot of it's like perspective. And once you've done something, you're like, oh wait, that wasn't, so bad.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I really push myself, I could probably do a full.
Totally.
For sure. But like, yeah, like you're saying, definitely like, it's just, I just love putting myself through, like, someone telling me, hey, you shouldn't do it. I'm just like, well, I'm going to do it anyways just to see what happens. And if it's bad, well, I'll find a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've always been like that. I'm just hard-headed like that.
I think it's a good thing. I mean, I feel like the fastest way to grow is to put yourself through uncomfortable shit. So,
definitely. Yeah,
that's
getting, like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like, getting closed off, or what's like the best way to put it? Like, getting like really like comforted, or being like babied, or like, I even say this about myself. Like, if I ever have kids, I'm not gonna baby them. I'm not gonna, give them everything they want. Or I'm always gonna be a good dad. Hopefully, hope to God I have kids one day. But
I'm sure you'll be good.
I'm gonna be a great dad, or I'm gonna try to be a great dad. But I'm also not gonna be like giving everything at their feet. I'm gonna look at how my dad raised me, and like, yeah, he always provided everything we ever needed. Maybe not what we wanted, but what we needed. And if you gotta teach someone that you're not gonna get everything you want. That's just life.
100%.
You're not going to get what you want. If you really want something, go work for it. Go do it. And show someone that you want it. Show yourself that you want it.
It sounds like a lot of that also just growing up with all that I've heard about your dad, it was he seems like maybe he had some influence on that state of mind for you. Do you have brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have a sister. I'm the oldest. So my sister's 21.
Oh, you were telling me they're in college.
She's 21, and she just graduated college. She's going to be 22 in October. And then my brother's going to be 21 next February.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She just graduated Cal Poly Pomona, and he's going to USC. So
sweet.
Yeah, no, he's smart. He's just smart. I don't know how. He's like the most unorganized smart. Yeah. Yeah. No, for like Little League, but he like knows everything about sports, but like he's not really like into playing it.
Gotcha.
Like he'll play pickup basketball and whatnot, but like play like competitively, that's nice. He's more like a school, and not like not to be messed up, not like the nerdy type. He's just like, he'll wake up, the most unorganized person on earth, come home with like the highest grade possible, and it's just like,
just comes easier.
Yeah, I just don't know how he does it, but he does it. This is what it is. He was blessed with it.
Yep. So now you've had some success. You started to make a little bit of money. What have you learned about money and making maybe more money, where you have some freedom to go do things that maybe you couldn't have done before?
You gotta learn how to manage that thing right, because it can manage you if you don't manage it. That's like the best way to put it, because I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, I was like the perfect kid growing up or this and that, because I wasn't. Like, I had my fair share of going out and doing things and probably spending more money than I should have on certain things, but
of course,
you only learn again from messing up. And the best advice I can give, or experiences, is really learn how to manage your money, learn how to like separate your wants and needs. Like, here and there, get yourself something that you want, but more importantly, really, 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 really try to understand if you need it. If you don't need it, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, because clothes change, cars change. I guess, the one thing I'm always telling myself, like, food is like different. Like, food's food. For me, it's like, I love food, so it's like, I love,
that's where you're willing to spend a little more.
Yeah, I love food. I love going out to eat. I love all that. But other than that, it's like, go on a trip every now and then if you can.
Yeah.
Clothes are clothes. Other than that, just really know how to manage your money, because if not, it will manage you.
Did you learn that on your own, or did you have did you go to your parents and say, hey?
My dad's always been the type to be like, you know, don't ever let it get to your head. Don't ever do more than what you can.
Yeah.
And always stay within your means and always prepare for like the worst of times. So just with that simple advice,
Yeah.
it's always been like, you know, with that, with your own parent telling you that, I don't think anybody else in the world can really prepare you for anything else. If you're close to your parents, then them telling you that will really like, you know, what's going to influence you more? Your parents telling you to like really be, you know, smart with your money and separating your wants and needs, or your friend or whoever, bad influence, not saying friends are bad influences, but any bad influence telling you, hey, let's go do this, let's go do that.
Yeah.
Like, no, just go back to the other ear and listen to your parents telling you, hey, go have fun, but also be smart.
Totally. Mm-hmm. So we're getting to the end. I want to ask a couple final questions here. Mm-hmm. The first being, so you're working with your family now. You said you're going to essentially take over your dad's position at some point, ideally. Do you have any sort of dreams for the business? Do you have any aspirations for growth or anything like that? Or are you kind of just taking it day by day?
I like to say I like to take it day by day, just because if you try to plan too far ahead, you get lost. And aside from being lost, you get, a lot of people could get scared. You know, you try to plan way too far, you're just like, you know, you get lost. So day by day is my main thing, but at the same time, there is obviously goals. But when it comes to like specific goals, like, oh, I want to build a company that takes over the country and landscaping, like, no, I'm not greedy with it. There's a bunch of other people that can jump into this business and succeed. There's room for everyone, you know. But my main goal in life is honestly, like, goes back to the very beginning of this, is simplicity, honestly. Like, all I want is to be able to provide for my wife, my kids one day, my family in general, my parents, if they ever need my help, my siblings, whoever it is, even if they don't need my help, you know, give them a good birthday gift, Christmas gift, random gifts, whatever it is. Have a nice home, simple, just that's my main goal, is just to be not comfortable, because you should never be comfortable, but always, you know, I guess and really leave a good foundation for people behind me. So whether it's my kids, my grandkids, you know, whatever it is, not just for myself, but yeah,
I respect that a lot.
That's basically what the goal is, honestly.
From the things I've seen you post on Instagram, like, this is literally, we haven't spoken in years.
Yeah, I know.
Since middle school?
Probably, like middle school. I mean, we've kept in touch, but like the last time I physically saw you was probably like early high school, end of middle school.
Yeah, so I was really looking forward to, especially because, you know, I saw some of the things you were posting with family and your new girlfriend or new. It's still new, technically.
Yeah, a year and a half. Yeah, it's new.
I'm with my girlfriend 2 years and something, like.
That's new.
Yeah. But yeah, I respect you a lot, and I'm really glad we got the chance to catch up.
Yeah, I'm honored. I felt when you told me, I was like, wow, this is, when you told me and you just, you know, gave me like how it's gonna be and what your ideas were, I was just like, let's jump on this. Like, I know you're busy, your girlfriend's gonna be here, enjoy it, but as soon as that's over, like, I'm ready. Let's attack it, because this is interesting. You know, I'm very, very like, very, very nice seeing you doing what you're doing. It's pretty cool. Appreciate it. Seeing everybody's stories, you get to learn a lot too, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe you've learned some things about yourself and some conversations you're gonna have with your dad or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. When, like, right now, just hearing these questions, I'm just like, wow, sitting here thinking I probably could have answered these a little better, but it really gets you thinking, like, whoa, I never really sat down and thought about how was it when I grew up, or this and that. So it's a good way to like self-reflect.
The craziest thing that I've realized after doing a couple of these is, like, even because I've done most of them with people that are close to me, even the people closest to you, there's always something to learn more, but two, there's usually a lot more like that you don't know about them, their past, their smallest dream, you know, there's so much that we kind of brush over and like take advantage, like we don't take advantage of, you know, getting to know someone for, but yeah, it's been awesome. I'm glad we got to do this. So I still have 2 questions.
No, go ahead.
One question.
I'm not on no time limit. You go ahead.
Perfect.
You do what you gotta do. Ask what you gotta ask. I'm having fun.
Perfect. Amazing. The first one is there something, if you were to tell other people about one thing or something that you've, like some of the topics we've covered here, is there something that we missed or something you'd want to talk about?
For the topic, like, oh, what would I like to share?
Yeah, is there anything else that you think, oh, I wish you asked me about this? That could be no.
Um, I mean, just getting into depth about being an adult, because I mean, yeah, I
I like
mean,
that.
I think everyone shares the same, similarities when it comes to like work. Like whether you start at 5 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m.,
Yeah.
like you still gotta get up, do what you gotta do. A job's a job. Whether you're at a grocery store or you run the best company in the world.
Yeah.
It's no bag on anybody. A job's a job. You show up. A job is a job. You show up, you show out. And the number one thing I can give as that advice is, like I said, no matter what you do it right and do it to your best potential. Because I'm pretty sure you've encountered times, I definitely have, when you go somewhere, whether it's a restaurant, fast food chain, grocery store, even like a good company, whatever it is, business, and you're approached by someone that works there, and you could just straight up tell like they hate their life, they hate their job,
100%.
and you're just like, all right, like if you hate your life, you hate your job, like don't stick it out on someone that's just coming to where trying to go.
Yeah.
Like put your best foot forward, smile on your face, and honestly, as mean as it sounds, just suck it up and just the energy you put out there is the energy you're gonna get back. So if you're giving
100%.
someone crappy
100%.
service, crappy attitude, like you don't care, that's what you're gonna get back from the world. But if you give someone like the best service, the best attention, the best attitude, oh, you're gonna get like the best energy back. That's how
Yeah.
I see life. It's pretty simple.
Is that something you've had to work on at all, or
Oh,
like
definitely,
yeah.
definitely. Because I mean, I felt like I've always been a people person where I can go talk to anybody. Just like example, I haven't seen you since middle school. I feel like I just saw you the other day the way we were
Yeah.
talking. But I can do that with anybody. Like honestly, not just anybody, but I mean someone that accepts it and someone that gives me that energy, I'm gonna give it back to them. Obviously, like if you're cut off to me or you're rude or you just feel like you're giving me the energy that you don't want to talk, I'm not gonna be mean.
Yeah.
But I'm also not gonna try to have a conversation with you. But that's something I definitely had to work on growing up because at first it's like I thought everybody was like me. Like, oh, just anybody could talk or
Yeah.
anybody can have a conversation. I was wrong. There's people that just don't like to be approached. There's people that don't like to have conversations.
Yeah.
And that's just who they are. Nothing wrong with it. And you got to accept that. And that's something that I had to do growing up is accept that some people don't really care about talking to you or hearing you or your opinion. That's just life.
100%. I mean, one of the things that I've kind of struggled with and have been working on is kind of, for me, I have problems with a little bit of control issues, and so there's only so much you can control as the individual,
Mhm.
and so other people obviously not. So just kind of I've had to work on a lot is being able to control what I can, and then from there on, being more accepting and just kind of letting things affect me less that aren't in my control. So that's kind of what you were getting to there. And
No, yeah, definitely. I think I preach that a lot. I think number one person that can complain that about me is my girlfriend. She always says, like, you sound like a broken record. I'm like, well, it's true. Like, honestly, no matter what it is, whether it's at work, at home, friends, whatever it is, out in the street, I preach this to the people that, like, I really talk to the most, whether it's my best friend or my girlfriend or whatever. I'm like, honestly, just worry about what you can control. As soon as you begin to learn that, the easier life gets. Because if you just start
100%.
worrying about what you can do, and not saying don't care about what anyone else can do, because obviously you care about how you're treated and care about how someone's approaching you. Because if they're treating you wrong, I'm not saying treat them bad. Just
Right.
don't give them your energy.
Yeah.
And as long as you start to realize that the actions that you control and what you put out there, if as long as you worry about that and that it's good, your life just gets so easy.
Yeah.
But as
And
soon as you start worrying about people and what they're doing or what they're thinking or someone, whatever, that's when you just get miserable because you're just like, you're stuck. You're like, oh man, like you're trying too hard to worry about what other people are doing or what they're thinking or their actions that you get lost about what you're doing and you just become miserable. Like life's easier as the sooner you find out to just worry about what you can control and being able to do that, life gets so much easier.
Totally. And you've talked about energy a couple times here, and I think that's has a lot to do with it, especially because you when you're worrying about those things you can't control, your energy's here or there, and you only have so much in one day, so you're spreading yourself thin. What are you in the life you've lived so far most proud of in yourself, either that you've done or a quality? Or
Honestly, it's gonna be the person I've become. Not even nothing material wise, nothing physically like physical, none of that, because like all that stuff comes and goes. Honestly, at the end of the day, when you're not here, what stays is how you were, like your memory, right? So I read this book one time, and it talked about how Alexander the Great, how when his three wishes, I don't know if you're familiar with it, his three last wishes when he was on his deathbed was, you know, when I get buried, or when you guys take me out to my funeral, uh, when I want the best doctors at the time, obviously, to carry my coffin. Why? Because he wants to show the world, or the people that praised him, that even the best doctors in the world couldn't save him. So that shows that means nothing. He wants to be dragged out with all his money on the floor and everything, just to show that even though he had all that, look what's still left behind. And he wanted to be shown with his hand outside the coffin to show that he came into the world with nothing, and he's leaving empty-handed as well. So like what stayed was his persona, who he was.
right.
So I believe in a lot of you know, who you are as a person, how people perceive you. Obviously, not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna,
It'd be bad if they all did.
Yeah, it'd be bad. It'd be very scary if everyone liked you. But I like to see, like, my biggest accomplishment is changing. I think as a teenager, I was very arrogant. I was very, I started to see that growing up. I started to see, oh, my parents, they do well, this and that. I started getting arrogant. A lot of my friends started not liking me because maybe they weren't, it's just different. And I had straight up conversations with them, and that changed me. And then obviously I've had people in my life that are older that have, humbled me. And it's been, I'd say, a good 5-6 years since all of that I got to notice that change. And that's probably my biggest accomplishment. Obviously there's always room for growth.
Sure.
But
but it sounds like your biggest accomplishment is what you're saying is being willing to reflect and grow and become the person that you are.
Definitely.
Today.
And you have to be able to accept, again, that not everyone's going to like you. There's always going to be people that complain. There's always going to be people that are saying, it's fake or it's not genuine. And like I said, and skipping back a little earlier, just worry about what you can control. As soon as you know that you're genuine, and you know what you're doing is right, and that your feelings and everything that you're putting out there is genuine, as long as you know that, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Other than that, people can say what they want. I'm not gonna care. Just know that you're trying to be a good person, and that's all that matters, honestly. And be humble, be a good person, treat others the way you want to be treated. It sounds like all elementary school talk, but it's very, very, very true. It's very true at the end of the day. Like, just treat others right. Treat others how you want to be treated, and you will be so happy in life. And accept that people will not like you, because people do not like to see other people. Number one, people do not like seeing others do well, and people don't like seeing others liking others. That's like number one thing I can tell is that. That's number one thing.
Yeah.
But obviously just be happy, period.
I like that. I like that a lot. So there's something that I do at the end of each podcast. It's kind of like a word association thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you 5 different words, and you can give me a short answer, a one-word answer, ideally short, but like ideally in a couple words.
Okay.
But just whatever first comes to your mind. So the first one's college.
If you're not a doctor or a lawyer, honestly, I don't think you need it.
Habit.
Hopefully it's a good thing, but if it's a good habit, do it repetitively. If it's a bad habit, don't do it.
Family.
Keep them close. Bend over backwards for them. And obviously, really, really know that that's all you have in life.
And then friends, last one.
Friends come and go. Friends will come and go. The real ones will stay. And honestly, just the real ones will stay, and you'll notice it as time goes. Even through the hardest situations, the real ones will stay. And if they're not there, then they weren't real. And you will notice that. Just if you can't go out one night, and if they don't like that, and if they leave you, that's not a real friend.
Yeah. I think the first time I sort of realized that the friends changing around you is after high school. Then you don't have to be around anyone every day.
That's like the number one thing. That's the number one thing for sure.
I've seen my sister, my girlfriend, they've had friends who they've known since they were little, and all of a sudden, wait, this person isn't providing the energy I need.
Mm-hmm.
We don't align the same. We don't have the same vision, and so you need to put whoever's gonna be best serve your purpose and what you want from life around you, and that kind of boosts you upwards. So
that's very true. Yeah, no, a true friend, a good friend, will push you to do what you're trying to do, will not be bringing you to do things you shouldn't be doing, and will stick with you through the toughest of times, and will never try to bring you down, honestly.
And won't make you feel bad for sacrificing or doing something that you need to do.
That's very true. That's probably number one thing also. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's it.
That was pretty easy.
Thank you so much for doing this.
That was nerve-wracking.
I've had a great time. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys got a front row seat to us catching up after years of not seeing each other. So you're welcome. That was for free. I might leave my Venmo in the description. But so I'm gonna leave any information on the company that you give me. Whoever ends up seeing this, they can go to the description and find you guys there.
Yeah.
I'll leave your social media maybe as well.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
If they ever need
I'll send you
landscaping
that.
done,
Just put it there.
they can check it out, and you guys are there.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for watching. This video will go up on Friday, so look forward to it, and we're back onto a weekly upload. So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you.